Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I am your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout their business career and share them with us as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. If you want to generate leads on LinkedIn, you have to stop marketing on LinkedIn. But to find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn, and the link to that will be in the show notes below. Today's show, we have special guest Mary Gardner. She's the owner of Mary Gardner Communications, providing executive presence and communication coaching, amongst other things as well. So, Mary, thank you for being on the show and welcome. And I want to start off with a question I love asking, and it is this. If you were able to go back in time to when you started your very first business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Oh, wow. Oh, that's such a great question because as an entrepreneur, you learn every step of the way. And a lot of people try to jump so far ahead. And it's like we're eating the elephant all in one bite, and you can't do it. You have to literally grow. I would say getting mentors, getting coaches. And really, the big jump that I took in my business was getting virtual assistants and to work with outside people. And I think patience is key when you're starting a business. It really, truly does take time for all of the components to come together. When you're an entrepreneur and a solo entrepreneur at that, of your coach, consultant, you are the president and CEO and the brand ambassador, and you're the janitor. And so things like learning how to navigate taxes and your admin and your technology, those are things that for a natural brand ambassador that's loving to be out there, or a sales professional, that can really take time and really slow down the process. So I think secondly, to getting very good support team locally, like my VA is in the Philippines, and we work with different people abroad, but having some people local that you can meet with, collaborate with, get advice from. So perhaps joining a mastermind is a good idea as well.
Yeah, yeah. So all of the things that you've just said, that if I were to sum it up, the key thing I'm hearing here is don't try to do everything yourself.
Yes, 100%. Because you'll fail. You know,
Yes.
it's like we're not good at everything. We all need other people that can support us. And yeah, I would say definitely get support, be with good people, and keep your mindset positive every day, because entrepreneurship and running a business is truly a journey, and you have got to have a strong mental foundation in order to fight this battle some of the days.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, talking about fighting battles, one of the things that I love to ask here is what's one of the biggest challenges that you had in your business? And what's the biggest lesson that you've learned from that?
I think the biggest challenge was I jumped off from a very large platform working for someone else. And I was a celebrity agent at the highest level in our country. And then when I jumped off and called my former clients, not all of them, but some of them, they were like, "You're no longer a celebrity agent. Sorry." And so understanding that it's a shift. You don't naturally always go from, because a lot of people start their business because they're very successful and they're like, "Oh, I want to make all the money myself." Well, they don't understand that that money that they're making for the other company has to pay for overhead and salaries and benefits and all those different things. We don't get that when we are working for someone else and jumping in. So I think I have benefited from having really good clients, but it took over time. So I did work on my reputation, but I kind of had to rebuild it. And so that's humbling. And business a lot of times is humble pie. You've got to be able to be get in and do the work. So I've learned a lot, and I would say just keep at it every day and do, lead with integrity and positivity and inspiration, and you'll get through it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. that shift that you had to go through from working for someone into being, working for yourself and managing everything and dealing with all the overheads and everything you just described there. What are some key principles that you learned from that? Not only for people just starting off in business, but people established in business as well, in terms of the pivot that you had to make. I'd love to hear what you learned from that and what are some key takeaways.
Oh, wow. A lot of, honestly, a lot of it, I did get good team members and then having to, oh, here's a good one. When you know somebody isn't working, don't have a bleeding heart, fire them and move on and find someone else. And I did in the early days take people because they were more affordable and you get what you pay for. And so I would say go and get the best support that you can and go and sit down and negotiate with a tax accountant and with a bookkeeper and finding people that can really make your business strong because your systems count and how you treat customers count. And I like having people that are so opposite from me. I'm that pie in the sky. I'm that visionary. I'm the one that can talk. I can get on stage, but I'm not the one that handles all those good details. So you've got to know your strengths and get people way better than you to help you in your business. They no more would want to be your competitor or be on stage. They have no interest in doing that, but they love numbers. They love things that you don't love and that you're not great at. So I would say go interview people, negotiate, see if they'll take you on, give you a break, all those kind of things. And a lot of times we become friends with the people that we work with, but if they're not working anymore, you got to let them go. You got to have the courage to do that. So that's in way into the business down the road. That happens a lot where we keep a person who actually becomes cancer in our business and it's bad for everybody. And we've got to have the courage to let those type of people go.
Yeah. Tough advice, but good advice. Like you got to be able to do those things. You'd mentioned about hiring the right people, bringing them on. And what's one of the, let me rephrase the question here because I want to make sure I ask this correctly. Oftentimes that bit around what you were talking about, you're the life of the party, so to speak. You're on stages, you're very vibrant. Um, Oftentimes business owners can be reluctant on hiring people because they want things to be done a very specific way, which nothing wrong with that. But I see it being a lot of hindrances as well because it's sometimes people can do a better job than we can, but they might do it a little bit different way. So what are some tips you've learned around that? So we're not stifling our growth while trying to force people to do it our way.
Oh, I love that question because that's what I coach people on. I coach people to be inspiring. And one of the things that they have to learn to do is to not micromanage, but learn to coach. And learning to
Mm.
coach is exactly, it's about, so here's the end goal. The leader casts the vision. The leader is the inspiring person that gets people motivated and excited, cast the vision. Then they say, how are you going to get there? And so it isn't micromanagement. And so there's studies about being an inspiring leader, and there's 12 or 13 competencies that get there. And there was an article that we rely on. It was in 2013 in Harvard Business Review, and it has all these different competencies. They are like casting the vision. They're more communication. They're coaching. They're about being innovative. It's about inspiring them to collaborate. And so those are the things to focus in on, not exactly how they do the job. And so it's you've got to learn to coach because otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy. And that's a really, really valid, important thing. And it's hard to get there. But the studies show that the more you inch up on all of those competencies, the better you get overall.
Wow. So if I hear what you're saying, leading equates to coaching to help people within your business. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And we have to keep in mind that we have internal customers and external customers. The internal customers are our coworkers and our employees. And if you don't treat your internal customers, your business partners, associates, with such deep respect and admiration and help and support like we would our customers, you're going to fail your customers. So that is the foundation that you have to have is treating people with respect within the context of your business. And sometimes that's hard hard because we get frustrated. We have our certain way of doing things, but we've got to learn to jump off and trust. And I'm just so blessed. I have got such a great staff. And as a result, then you do become friends. But I do think that trust is, it takes time to really grow that.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Well, um, are there any common themes that you see with business owners or your clients that if you were just to think, if everyone just realized this is a common question, it's a common challenge I get all the time from people. I just wish people would know this one thing. What's that one thing that you wish you'd be able to impart knowledge into for people?
Well, mine's personal. I think having a strong faith and strong spiritual background is because there are so many times you have to be called to this. I've seen people come and go in the career and in coaching. I've been in it since the beginning. I owned one of the first coach training companies in the world. We were the second in person in the world, and I've seen a lot of people come and go. I just think having that strong foundation of faith and if you start your day having that morning meditation, your prayer, your journal, and know that you're doing this for a calling and that you are there to serve people. And so I always pray, God, bring me the right people. I want the right people that I can help at the highest level possible. I help people on stage and with their messaging and with their personality. And now with AI, which is coming in, anyone can look fabulous online. But that does not mean that when you are in person, you're going to have that electric, inspiring, hopeful personality. And so that takes time. And a lot of the greats spent a lot of quiet time. And that is so important that we can get messages and downloads and spend time knowing what we're supposed to do. So I would say that would be the biggest gift is lead with faith, take quiet time, really spend time on yourself and personal development, building your own strength, and then be able to be a strength in the world. And that's what I think we're all called to do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, very quickly, Mary, what is over the next 2 to 3 years of your business? What are your goals? What are you wanting to achieve?
Well, I've just been signed to do a radio show with Salem Communications. And so I am starting a radio show. It will be about finding your purpose and really having faith as you drive forward. So you can hear it in how I talk and how excited I get. I mentioned AI. And so I use a lot of AI in my business, and I want to continue to grow with that and use it for good to help people really expand. I think we're living in an evil world, and I think we've got a big fight. And so it's the challenge of a lifetime is to stay positive and above the fray. I hope I can continue to do that as I grow my business. I do work with politicians. I work with CEOs. I work with a lot of very strong individuals, and they are doing a beautiful job, but a lot of them need tweaks on that personality and keeping in mind they can look good out there and have really young people doing their business online, but if they don't have it inside of their heart and the messages in their head, they're going to
Yeah,
fail. And so that's why
yeah.
people like me are really going to thrive, I think, in this new world of AI.
Love it. I love it. Love it. Absolutely amazing. Well, Mary, for people that want to get in touch with you or find out more about what you do, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can hit me up. Mary at marygardner.com is my email. My website is marygardner.com, and LinkedIn. We're very strong on LinkedIn, Mary Gardner Communications. And we'd love to have a chat and see if we can help you grow, help your personality thrive, and become that inspiring leader that you deserve to be.
Amazing, amazing. We'll definitely follow Mary, reach out to her. And Mary, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a great privilege having you on. And as a reminder for everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn on LinkedIn, and that link will be in the show notes below. And until next time, stay inspired.